Let's bring in our military analyst, retired Air Vice Marshal Sean Bell. Hello, Sean. Big meetings going on today. Let's talk about President Zelensky first. In Poland, it's his first official visit. As we've said before, he's travelled through the country since the war began. But what's he hoping to achieve from today?
Yes, there's a series of big visits going on, and the danger is they just look like routine. These are nothing like routine. They've got real strategic importance. As you say, President Zelensky meeting Duda, the leader of Poland. They've got a range of issues to discuss. They've got some of the more routine issues like grain. The Ukrainian grain is hitting the market. It's duty-free at the moment, and as a result, the grain prices plummeted in Poland. That's angered the farmers, and therefore they're a bit upset about all that. But the main issue they're going to be discussing this visit is the war in Ukraine. Poland, for all sorts of geographic and historical reasons, is very concerned about what Putin's wider ambitions are beyond Ukraine. And over 80% of the Polish population want to back fully the support for Ukraine. And therefore, Duda's been providing political and military support and has actually lent into providing things like MiG-29 jets as well, and has been the first nation to do that. It's also worth noting, though, that on a slightly more grand strategic scale, with the US presidential elections not close, but the attention started to be drawn by that. And also, US has made very clear that China is its #1 priority, whilst America will remain the #1 donor of both money and military machinery for Ukraine. There is a gap for some European leadership in the support of Ukraine, and that seems to be an area that Poland's stepping up to.
President Putin busy today, lots of meetings. We saw him addressing his Security Council a little earlier. He's also been welcoming new ambassadors, including the new US ambassador. But the president of Belarus has been to Moscow, Alexander Lukashenko. What's that visit all about?
Another one. This is the latest in a whole series of visits. Now, President Putin's made no secret of his desire to sort of reform the Soviet Union. The trouble is the Baltic states are now part of NATO, so he can't restore those. He invaded Ukraine to stop that falling into NATO's hands. And Belarus, he's installed a puppet regime, and that's what Lukashenko is doing. One of the key things they're going to be discussing is the Union State Treaty. Now, this has been on the table for some time. It's stalled for some time, but it's almost a borderless alliance between the two countries. And given probably the challenges that Putin's facing in Ukraine, he's trying to rush this through and gain some traction. Now, of course, the two are actually pretty close already. The Russians are doing military training in Belarus. They've conducted operations against Ukraine from Belarusian soil. They're basing military jets there, and we've recently reported they're putting tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus. Trouble is, for Lukashenko, he's survived a few riots. He's not the most popular leader in the country, and he's got to therefore take care. But it's pretty evident that Putin solved the Ukraine problem using his military force. He's now trying to solve the Belarus problem by leveraging every tool at his disposal in his political arsenal to tighten the grip on that country.
And just while we have you, Sean, a quick update on developments on the ground in Ukraine.
Quick canter through. In Bakhmut, we were reporting how the Wagner Group were making progress. They have taken the centre of the city, the city council headquarters. It's a pile of rubble, to be fair, so it's symbolic rather than actually meaty. But they are continuing a slow, grinding war of attrition up there. I think from a military perspective, what doesn't make sense at the moment is that the Russians know that Ukrainians are going to be mounting some sort of counterattack, so they really should be preserving their combat power for that. In Crimea, down to the south, they're building up lots of defences, but actually they're continuing full bore in Bakhmut. So you have to conclude that Russia's special military operation is all about preserving Crimea and taking the whole of the Donbass. The challenge is that that's likely to simply fuel Ukraine's ambitions for the forthcoming spring offensive.